So I was gonna make a video about the story and ranking system from Sonic Unleashed, because it's my favorite Sonic game and I just love talking about it. But then I thought, wait, I want this to be an art channel. What am I doing making gameplay videos? Then I made this instead. I've seen a few YouTubers trying their luck at redesigning the main Sonic cast, either to slightly tweak the official designs or to give their own spin on the characters. I figured I'd throw my hat into the ring and show off the designs for my personal Sonic the Hedgehog AU. Inspired by pure action games like Devil May Cry and Battle Shonen like Demon Slayer and Dragon Ball Z, even though I haven't watched it yet. Look guys, I just started watching anime, okay? Cut me some slack. In this alternate universe, Mobians, the little anthropomorphic animals, born with the ability to control chaos energy, are referred to as Chaosborn, and every Chaosborn has the ability to summon an extension of their soul to use as a weapon, fittingly referred to as a soul weapon. It can take multiple forms, specifically that of a close-range and long-range weapon that differs for each character. There are a few more little lore details, but I'll cover those as we talk about each design. And who better to start with than the blue blur himself, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Watch out! You're gonna crash! Ah!
Ignoring the accessories for a bit, Sonic's overall design remains relatively unchanged, apart from one glaring detail. I gave him pants. The common inconsistency involving female characters needing to wear clothes, while the male characters are allowed to just, let everything breathe, was already a problem on its own, and with the added clarity of wanting to do a Klonoa crossover, and then seeing Sonic buck naked next to this poor kid, I figured I'd have to at least change that. The slacks themselves are meant to be sort of sweatpants. Sonic doesn't care to dress all fancy or anything, he's too busy living life by the seat of his aforementioned pants. I also took care to make a clear distinction between his running shoes and his socks, as the whole boots thing Sega is pushing is really stupid to me. Plus a little strap added to his gloves, and Sonic is ready for some adventure. To battle for the game. Moving on to Sonic's soul weapon, Caliburn, named after the sword he uses in Sonic and the Black Knight. It and its blaster counterparts are meant to parallel Dante's signature weapons from the Devil May Cry series, his sword, the Rebellion, and his twin pistols, Ebony and Ivory. While he has them, I do imagine Sonic wouldn't use these pistols all too often, as he prefers hand-to-hand combat, or should I say foot-to-foot combat, being that most of Sonic's power is in his legs.
Whoa, my head's spinning!
Now, for the boy genius, the young Sheldon of Team Sonic, Tails the Fox. Similar to Sonic, I gave the Tyke some trousers, but this time they're cargo shorts for carrying tools or small contraptions. His shoes look like metal boots, and I imagine they'd have some kind of gyroscope function or something to keep him steady while flying. And his gloves now have black fingers to imply that he's a hands-on inventor type. You know, not black fingers as in like they're coal blackened or whatever. Black fingers as in like they're actually like, it's like they're work gloves. He has work gloves now. In terms of accessories, he'd keep his gadget in a backpack, similar to how he does in the movies, and his little tablet, the Miles Electric, I gave him a little symbol to represent Tails, and now it's also red now to reflect all the rest of his gadgets. This multifunctional drill weapon thing takes inspiration from a multitude of sources. Lots of fan works depict Tails as using this arm blaster thing for self-defense, and I've always been a big fan of the idea myself, so I simply combined that with the concept of his drill weapon from Sonic Frontiers, and voila! The name of this gadget, the Sky Patron, is a cheeky little reference to one of Tails' old solo adventures, Tails' Sky Patrol, for the Master System, I think. Tails also has a pair of goggles he can whip out if he needs to, a slight nod to his design from Sonic Boom. Oh, and real quick before we wrap up, I forgot to mention, I gave him extra chest fluff.
Aww. Moving on to our next design, he's rougher than the rest of them, he's tougher than leather, it's
Knuckles. Unlike Sonic, I don't chuckle. I'd rather flex my muscles. I'm hard as nails. It ain't
Right off the bat, it's easy to tell that I changed his body proportions from his game design. Like most people, I went for a halfway point between his boom and cannon designs in terms of his proportions, bulking him up slightly to accentuate his role as the strength character. His outfit is that of a rugged treasure hunter, and while I don't have any art of his hat, rest assured he would wear it sometimes. Note how the lines on his socks are horizontal, while the lines on Sonic's socks are vertical. His weapons, the Angel Breakers, are these big blades that complement his punch-based combat style, and his ranged weapon is a bow, to tie into his heritage as an echidna warrior. I also love whenever his treads are really long, so I added that as well. And that's everything for the Knuckles design.
Here I come, tougher than the rest of them, the best of them, tougher than tough. You can call me Tuffles. Unlike Sonic, I'm a fungus. Their body is covered.
Next up is everyone's favorite pink hedgehog. You all know where this is going. It's Amy Rose. Amy is an interesting case for multiple reasons. Amy Rose went through the biggest design change of the main four when going from the Genesis era to the Adventure era, and even before then she had multiple different designs from other media interpretations like the British comic. All this to say, I had a lot more wiggle room with Amy's design than all the others, so I went for something new. This is the design. One thing I dislike about the way Ian Flynn characterizes Amy is how drab he makes her. Like, she's not allowed to be spunky anymore. She just feels like a strong female character. So, this design serves as a visual representation of adding that bit of spontaneity back into a character. Amy is supposed to be a very compassionate little girl who can be occasionally slightly obsessive and has a bit of a temper. So I decided to make her design extra colorful to reflect this. Her arm warmer specifically referenced the colors of her classic design, as well as her quills. I gave her roller skates as a way to justify her even being remotely as fast as the characters who actually have superpowers, and the dress is just changed to be slightly less formal and more outdoorsy. Her crossbow was a reference to the British comics, and her iconic hammer now has a star on it to hint to her passion for fortune-telling and stuff. Also, it was built by Tails. Figure that explains why she has it pretty well. And since I reverted her to her classic quills, I saw fit to separate her eyes as to keep her different from Sonic. All in all, I love what I did for Amy, especially in terms of using her design to communicate her personality. Now, make way for the ultimate life form, Shadow the Hedgehog. And here he is, the Black Blur himself. Shadow's design is obviously meant to mirror Sonic, as he has cargo pants for utility that are wrapped at the bottom to aid mobility, with a belt to keep it in place. Sonic is free and loose, and Shadow is calculated and tactical. His sole weapon is a katana, but seeing as he is an artificial creature, this katana was built for him. I wanted Shadow to feel like a walking arsenal, a one-man army, if you will. Skill and ammunition to contrast Sonic's natural talent. He has a big rocket launcher with a bunch of other smaller guns strapped on, including his infamous pump-action assault rifle. The sword is meant to parallel Virgil's Yamato, and I imagine Shadow could shoot Chaos Sphere similarly to how Virgil commands his Mirage Blades. His inhibitor rings are less round to help them resemble regular rings less, as they would be important by themselves. And I like them being more like straps in SA2. I darkened his skin to match the old promotional artwork, as I think it looks better than pasty Shadow. I didn't feel the need to change much else, as, like Sonic, I didn't want to reinvent the wheel or anything. I couldn't think of a name for his katana like Sonic's Caliber or Knuckles' Angel Breakers, so if you have an idea, drop it in the comments. And that's about all I have for old Emo McEdgehead. Last, but most certainly not least, is the one with the master plan. You know him, you love to hate him, it's... This design just takes what I think is cool about modern Eggman's design and applies some extra flair everywhere else. His goggles are bigger and more prominent to help differentiate them from his glasses. His coat keeps the yellow buckles, but adds these shoulder patches to make him look like a regal ambassador general. His coat is also a lot longer, going from a waistcoat to a trench coat, for cool poses of his coat blowing in the wind. I also repeated this egg pattern to add visual interest, considering I removed his old egg buttons. He has no weapons or anything, as his machines would be his power. Here's a sketch of his Eggmobile and Eggwalker. He might also have his gun from SA2 though. Despite being different, there's not much to talk about with Eggman's design. His original one is simple, yet effective, and it effortlessly communicates his role as an egg-themed evil genius. All I did was change the style.
You're too late, Sonic! I am now forklift certified! Oh my god!
Well, that's all the redesigns I have. Well, all the redesigns I've done full art for. I have a lot more redesigns that I plan on sharing in future parts. So to my 5 subscribers, would you like to see more of this? Please let me know. Now, bless your face, and if you sneeze during this video, bless you. And yes, this is a Tobuscus reference. Sam out.
Subscribe.